Welcome back, everybody, and today we're going to continue working on the Drift Honda S2000, Drift S2K. It doesn't really have a name yet, but I'm sure it'll become a part of the Cheetah collation here pretty soon, once we get this thing pretty set up. Today we're going to be doing some odds and ends, things that I want to do that are easier. I want to take out the ECU because this thing is getting replaced with a much better ECU. Link plug and play G4X S2000 plug and play box that is for 2000 to 2005 Honda S2000s. So we're going to be getting this stuff out so I can sell the harness that I had made for the Fuel Tech as well with it. If you're in search of a Fuel Tech ECU for an S2000, let me know. I have one. We're going to be cutting out the shifter. The mounts are welded in from where the shifter previously was mounted at, so I just got to cut those out with a flappy disc and just some other random pieces. So, one of the first things we're going to be doing is getting this wideband out of here, also a Fuel Tech wideband that we are no longer going to be using. So I got to drill these rivets out. That's usually not how that goes, but the sweet smell of carbon fiber. There we go. And there's another one. One last one. Good old carbon fiber making a shit ton of a mess. There it goes. So now, can unplug this wideband. Gone. We're out of propane. So now I'm gonna get this Fuel Tech ECU out of here. I got a couple things still plugged in. I'll just unplug the A and B plug. This is the map sensor that's built into these. It's always scary to break the nipple on the back. So I am cutting what is normally, this is my boost reference or your map reference. So the Fuel Tech ECUs have them built onto the back side of them. I'm scared I'm gonna break the nipple off on the ECU, so I just cut a couple reliefs in the actual line so that it just comes off much easier without having to worry about breaking this nipple. And the ECU is out. So next we're gonna get this cluster area ready to take out so I can feed the wires that go to my mil-spec connector over here back to this side, pull all the wiring out. I'm not going to be using like this Fuel Tech harness anymore. So we're just going to start getting some of the random things off to feed the wiring back through. There's a couple screws here to pull off the cluster surrounding area in the S2000. Basically, to get this cluster piece out, or the cluster surrounding piece, you'd have to go about, there's two screws in the front right here on this lower cover, and then there's actually another screw further back here. You probably can't see, but if you just look underneath, you will see it. Pretty easy to see, hard to miss. So we're gonna get those three screws out. I already got the top two out. And this piece is gonna want to come separate. These clip together. You gotta kind of wiggle the key area around because there's a little rubber gasket that goes around the key ring. Kind of just wiggle that and that'll come right out. So next thing we need to do is actually drop the column a little bit, which is just two 12mm bolts or nuts. So you're gonna need to get the two 12mm nuts on the steering column. Here's one, and then just follow it to the other side, and the other side is gonna be right here. All right, so we got those out. Now this cluster piece has a lot more room to come out. So you kind of gotta push those down. This kind of pulls out like this. There's gonna be some connections. This side you can push this button out. Mine's not actually active anymore, so it doesn't really matter to me. But there's gonna be some connections over here. Make this out. We got the AC connection and the defroster connection over here that we're just gonna go ahead and unhook. There's just a clip on this one here, super easy. Same with this. For the AC controls, there's a clip on the back side here that just unclips. So now I just gotta feed these plugs through, and this is out. So this is normally where your stock cluster would go. I no longer have a stock cluster since I mounted the ECU previously here. This piece is a little beat up, but I actually have another one of these, luckily. So the first thing I'm doing is disconnecting my mil-spec connector down here to feed the harness back up through here. So I also have a solid state relay set up for the trans brake and everything like that, but that's all going to be coming out because I'm not going to be using any of that anymore. So there's a lot of zip ties here. Hopefully. All right, so we just got the solid state relay out that controlled the trans brake and a nitrous solenoid, a few other things, bump box. And so now I just got to undo some of the rest of the wiring up here to fish it through the dash, which I remember this part being super fun, feeding it through. Got all these grounds disconnected. I'm gonna have to cut a lot of zip ties and unplug some relays here. Let's just see if we can feed it through. Voila! Everything is almost fed through. Other than this random string. What is this for? Trans brake? It must be. Alright, so now I'm going to do some more unplugging. I believe one of these is for the boost control solenoid. I need my little clips, my clippy clips. Where did I just put those? I lost the clippies you gave me. Where are the clips? Next we're gonna unplug the jumper connector that we had made originally for this to run the Fuel Tech. These 3 plugs here. Oof. It's actually gonna be easier to pull the wiring this way. Yeah, this looks like quite the mess, I will say. But it was organized all at one time. It's not quite as organized anymore. Okay. Got the majority of it out. Trying to get some of this stuff untangled. Shout out to all my dirtbag friends out there. Where you at, Jacob Anderson? Dirtball for life. And the harness is out. Hopefully it'll live to see another day in another car. This was a nice harness that my buddy Garrett built me actually a couple of years ago. Now we're gonna get this shifter out of here. I gotta just disconnect the shift cable right here. They're already disconnected from underneath the car, but this mount was welded in originally to some of the stock stuff here. So I just gotta cut these 2 welds, pull this shifter out, and then unbolt these from the 2 mounts that were originally made. And then the shifter is out. This car used to actually be a manual when I originally bought it because they only sell S2000s and a 6-speed manual transmission. I broke about 3 of those with this car being turboed and trying to go fast. And so I was sick of breaking those, which is why I put the auto in here. And then the car started getting a little bit more serious. And I started drag racing it, no prep racing it. And that was fun for a couple of years. But now that I just started drifting recently, I think that drifting is going to be fun. So I need to put a manual transmission back in it. Full circle. Kind of funny. Dirtbag things. Here at Medina Motors, we always use the proper safety equipment to get the job done correctly and safely. Make sure you always have your safety glasses when using one of these bad boys. They'll really frick you up. You don't want to get a piece of metal in your eye. Let me tell you what, that's a dirtbag thing to do. So we got the pole positions kind of covered up here, so I hopefully don't burn any holes in them. I'm trying to cut these. And I'm just gonna pop in here, nice and wet. side is broke free. I actually might be able to just bend this one on over a couple times and break the metal off. Look at that. Not everyday miracles happen, but boy, let me tell you, they sure as hell do happen. Didn't even have to cut the other side. That's what I'm talking about, brother. Shifter's out. Now, let's get this doggone knob shift cable out of here. All right, and that's the last piece of the auto, the shifter cable. So everything that has to do with this car being an automatic is officially out. So all the S2000 peers can quit hating on me, telling me I don't know how to drive in manual. That's the only reason I put an auto in this car. Leave me alone! All right, so now we're gonna take the old baby bottle out since I won't be using nitrous anymore. The baby bottle is always a good time, but this will also be for sale. No longer to be using nitrous because I'm gonna be going down to a much smaller turbo to hopefully be able to make full boost around 4,000, 4,500 RPMs all the way up to 10,000 or 10.5 or whatever I decide to rev the car to again. I already have the solenoid disconnected from the front. The only thing we have left to do is disconnect the main line, the bottle feed line, and get the mounts out and the bottle itself, which I already loosened these. So I just got to get these off these T-bolt clamps for the bottle. And the old baby bottle's out. Just got to get this main line up, which I think it might be easier to pull from underneath. And nitrous line kit is out. It's like long enough to feed a school bus. Bottle mounts. Oh. And that is literally everything from the nitrous, from the trans. We need to start ordering parts soon. What's next? Stay tuned and subscribe. Bye!